Alright, you guys, welcome back to the channel. Here for some more Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, and we have even more news for the game. This time around, it's going to be in regards to the story campaign. We have info on how long the full game is going to be, potentially, right? This, of course, is coming from another news source, an article, so do take everything that's said in today's video with the smallest grain of salt. We'll go ahead and break things down, so without further ado, make sure to drop a like, turn on post notifications, subscribe, and if we go over to the homie DBS Hype, they went ahead and shared the info. Now, we will also go over to the actual source because there's even more details about the story and the game in general, and it's pretty dang promising. I'm so looking forward to Xenoverse 3. It's literally about to be the best Dragon Ball game of all time. So the caption does say, producer Hirano confirms 20 to 30 hours of main story mode content is planned for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. That is absolutely insane. 20 to 30 hours long? You know why this is crazy? Well, let's put this in perspective real quick. If we go over to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1, I went ahead and uploaded the entire story campaign from start to finish with the Xenoverse 1 DLCs. I think there's about 3 or 2 of them. It includes the combat, gameplay, cinematics, dialogue, everything, right? And the total video length sits at 3 hours and 24 minutes. 3 hours and 30 minutes. Just because this is the Legend Patrol DLC that Xenoverse 2 provided, which, if you don't know what that is, you essentially got to play the entire Xenoverse 1 campaign with the Xenoverse 2 graphics, mechanics. It's in the actual game. So the loading screens very well could be a bit faster because I also played this on the PS5, but yeah, it's still roughly around 3 hours and 30 minutes if you just want the full story content. Now, going back to that potential Xenoverse 3 story campaign, 20 to 30 hours, that's already 10 times as long compared to Xenoverse 1. Oh my gosh, man! This feeds the offline players, right? If you don't necessarily care about all the online stuff, the raids, online PvP, gameplay, 1v1s, 2v2s, this story mode alone compared to Xenoverse 1 will keep you busy for up to 20 to 30 hours. And they haven't even revealed the rest of the in-game content. There very well could be other offline game modes that doesn't necessarily need to be played online. You know what I mean? Even if we go over to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Now, I never uploaded the full game to my channel, but I just went ahead and searched it up on YouTube, and we have a variety to pick from, right? So here's one 3 years ago. This is going to be the full Xenoverse game with all the DLCs up to 2023, and the video length is about 8 hours. Pretty dang cool. Here was another one that dropped about a year ago. I think this is going to be the base game without any of the DLCs, so you can see the start there. It includes all the dialogue, cutscenes, gameplay, combat. This is about 5 hours long. I don't think we have a video with every single DLC up to 2026 with the future sagas, so just add probably a couple hours. So the Xenoverse 2 campaign is about 5 to 10 hours potentially, which is still a lot greater compared to Xenoverse 1 with 3 hours with the DLCs. So even if you combine the two, that's still not as long as that Xenoverse 3 story campaign. So big thanks to Konam for providing this tweet. For comparison, by compiling the entire history of Xenoverse 1, Xenoverse 2, and their DLCs, only the cinematics and dialogue scenes without the rest. Okay, so I'm assuming they didn't include the actual combat gameplay, which would have significantly increased the time. I get a montage of about 15 hours. That gives an idea of the richness of the storyline if it's not artificially padded. 11 years of content. Xenoverse 1 came out 2015, and it's currently 2026. We're still getting that Future Saga Chapter 4 DLC for Xenoverse 2. Still does not hold up against that 20 to 30 hours of Xenoverse 3 story. Oh my days. Yeah, I had to put this in perspective for you guys just to put it out there how insane this time limit actually is. Now, going over to the actual article, this is where DBS Hype got the info in the first place. Big thanks to WCCF Tech for doing the actual interview over at Summer Game Fest 2026. They did this one-on-one discussion with the producer himself, Hirano-san. Now, this is going to be the question. Can you touch upon the projected length of the game? How many hours can players expect out of the story mode? And what does the multiplayer volume look like at launch? Hirano responded, for a standard playthrough of the main story mode, so nothing else, if you just want the actual plots to the Xenoverse 3, players can expect roughly 20 to 30 hours of cinematic campaign content depending on their pace. Yeah, just to stay safe, you do have to say this, depending on their pace, because if you don't dilly-dally around, again, if you just want the plot, the climax, and all that great stuff, the chapters, then you'll just immediately go through everything without exploring, and it could very well be shorter than the 20 to 30 hours mark. To be fair, we don't necessarily know how the main story campaign is going to play out, because if you take a look at Xenoverse 1 and 2, you go over to the time nest and it's just cutscene to battle, cutscene battles, right? It's very straightforward. Xenoverse 3, on the other hand, it could be different. We know that the new West City is going to be more vast to Toki City and Kantan City, so there very well could be some small exploration, kind of like this open world elements to it. Not necessarily true open world, but for example, let's say at the start of the game, you have to actually meet Gamma 1 somewhere, so you have to traverse through West City, eventually talk to Gamma 1, then you get the cutscene, and then battle, and then let's say for Mission 2, you get an objective that says meet Bulma over at the Great Salmon headquarters. And then during the exploration, like going to your next mission, there very well could be side missions, or if you just want to explore, we all know that takes a long amount of time as well. Maybe there's shops that you get to upgrade, level up your CAC, buy things, you know what I mean? So all of that very well could be part of the main story campaign. We just don't know for sure. I'm just trying to bring up as many points as possible, because in Xenoverse 2, the reception center exists where you get to do the expert missions, parallel quest, raid bosses. But in Xenoverse 3, what if the side quests and all the additional stuff are kind of weaved or integrated into the main story, where you unlock additional side quests after you complete some main missions, like DBZ Kakarot, for example. That's an RPG style game, which Xenoverse 3 seems to be at least taking more of that trajectory. It could be something similar to that, where you complete the first couple of missions, you unlock a side quest, so you go ahead and go off course and do that real quick. So this 20 to 30 hour main story stuff very well could be including everything. We just don't know for sure. Again, I'm reiterating myself, but if it truly is referring to just the actual main plot and climax of the Xenoverse 3 story, then that would be great. Already leagues above to Xenoverse 1 and 2. This is like a proper story-driven Xenoverse, and hopefully it's going to be a bit more original compared to Xenoverse 1 and 2, because we just got to fix the timeline of the iconic show itself. Now, speaking of that, we have even more info in regards to the story. Big thanks to Kamen Rider for sharing. Akira Toriyama worked more on Xenoverse 3 than on Dragon Ball Online. So if you're not necessarily aware, yes, Akira Toriyama did work on the MMORPG game known as Dragon Ball Online. That was, I believe, up until now, the most involved game that Akira Toriyama worked on. So, for example, you know, games like Sparking Zero, Kakarot, Xenoverse 1 and 2, Battle of Z, all the games before that as well. he didn't necessarily have that much involvement. Of course, they took the idea, the foundation, Dragon Ball. Obviously, that was created by the legend himself. But in terms of actually working on any of the Dragon Ball games, Xenoverse 3 is now the most involvement Akira Toriyama has ever done before. Yes, even outbeating Dragon Ball Online. So now we know that this game is really going to be enormous and great. They even confirmed this back at Battle Hour 2026 and the events before that, Genkidama Matsuri, that Akira Toriyama heavily worked on the world building, the character designs and development, all that good stuff, right? So that's something to look forward to the most. And this is, of course, coming from another article. I don't have the official source, just the image right here, which is good enough for me if I'm being honest, but do take everything with the smallest grain of salt, of course. Question: this might be a deep cut. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 takes place around the same time as the DBO MMO in Age 1000. Will there be any similarities in structure or story between those two games? And then Hirano responded, this is one I don't think I can go too deep into. I can say this world of Age 1000, unlike the MMO, is something that Toriyama Sensei has worked a lot on. From the lore to the setting, to the world, to the character design, we are not drawing from the online version as much as we are building this from the ground up using the resources Toriyama Sensei left behind. So again, just even more epicness to the entire Xenoverse 3 video game. Now, going over here, we do have another question and answer. Kamen Rider once again captioned this with protecting the future. This is coming from another article. We don't necessarily have the question that was asked, however, just the answer by Hirano. That's another one that we'll have to look forward to for more details, but it's a great question. By the way, it's a very deep question as well. Now I'm a bit more curious on what the actual question was. The Xenoverse franchise is about protecting, and in Xenoverse 1 and 2, it's about protecting history. Yeah, as I mentioned before, you just go back to the past, you tag alongside the cast characters, whatever mission it is, you know, Vegeta, Goku, Trunks, Piccolo, and you go up against the Time Breakers, Toa, Mira, the supervillainous enemies. You destroy them and just fix the timeline for it doesn't get all distorted. Xenoverse 2 was literally a copy of the Xenoverse 1 formula. I would even argue that Xenoverse 1's story campaign was better than Xenoverse 2's. It was just, instead of Demegra being the final boss, it was Mira. It was essentially it. So again, going back to Xenoverse 3, I truly do feel like it's going to be a bit more original. We've seen a little bit of the story within the actual trailer dropped about a week ago with the new cast characters. We don't necessarily know much, but we're not time patrollers, so we won't be going back in time and fixing history, right? We're part of the Great Seiya Squad. Moving forward, it says, in Xenoverse 3, it's about protecting the future. Let me repeat. Xenoverse 3 is not about protecting the past history. It's about protecting the future. Age 1000. Stuff that we haven't even seen. So that's more to the original story. Of course, we'll still probably tag alongside the cast characters such as Goku, Piccolo, Vegeta, Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, all those guys, just to keep things interesting, because it is Dragon Ball at the end of the day, but it's mainly about the CACs, I'm assuming. It is going to be new material, just additional Dragon Ball lore that we haven't experienced before. If you go over to the Bandai websites, they always mention exploring a never-before-seen Dragon Ball universe, worlds, story, all that good stuff, right? So I would say this idea of protecting something is going to be key, lads. Are you ready for Xenoverse 3 as much as I am? Let me know by dropping a like on the video. Now, going back to the WCCF Tech article, we have some info about the multiplayer side of things, because the question did ask the projected length of the game and how is the multiplayer volume going to look like at launch. So 20 to 30 hours for the campaign content, depending on pace. On the multiplayer side, the launch volume is already massive, but our long-term plan is to treat this as a living world. So right there, they're going to be treating this more like a live service type of game with a ton of consistent updates. We are preparing a robust post-launch roadmap packed with community events, drops, and consistent content updates to keep the community thriving. Dude, they're doing everything right off the bat. Are you kidding me, man? Community events, exclusive drops, and consistent content updates. On top of that, it would be cool if they drop like limited time events where you have to be at this place at a certain time to get the ultimate reward or the ultimate drop, and then after the time limited event ends, afterwards, if somebody else missed it, they'll see you with that exclusive item, and then you can just show off and be cool, right? We need stuff like that. And also, if they host tournaments, something similar to XENOVERSE 2, where like only the top 10 best warriors will get that exclusive flaming Goku outfit or whatever. You know what I mean? So when you match with someone online, you see someone with that limited fiery aura over the outfit, you'd be like, man, this guy was top 10 part of that Goku tournament. So you know I'm about to get bodied. How could I compete? That's the thing. You can't, because he's too good at the game. We need cool things like that. And what I'm reading here, community events, drops, consistent content updates, that'll be nice. Now, of course, they'll probably drop more of the non-rare items, where the events would probably be available for like a whole 2 weeks or so for everyone could get it and be happy, you know, because not everyone will be a true warrior and win the tournaments and stuff. So you have to drop items for everybody can get as well. But man, that was a great read. Jam-packed with a post-launch roadmap, consistent updates to keep the community thriving. The full game of XENOVERSE 3 without any DLCs post-launch is going to be epic, man. Now, if we go over to the Bandai Namco websites, they went ahead and updated this when they released the West City trailer on the 23rd of June. It's about a minute read, written by the PR team. Just some extra info about the full game / story. 10 years after the last entry in the XENOVERSE series marks a bold new chapter for the franchise. The latest trailer offers a first look at both gameplay and the daily life in a brand new setting, Age 1000. Built on the legacy of the series, Dragon Ball XENOVERSE 3 delivers an entirely new Dragon Ball experience. There it is once again. Players are invited to create and embody the hero they aspire to be in an unexplored world envisioned by the original creator Akira Toriyama, blending an epic story-driven RPG with high-octane action. The game promises an unforgettable journey through a vibrant new universe and its diverse cast of characters. So this is something that we broke down before, but just in case if you missed it, they went ahead and updated the official Dragon Ball site, but we're just over here. DBS Hype shared it. It's a bit easier to access, I guess. XENOVERSE 3 new characters profile. So we have Brett, an aspiring hero who engages in a friendly rivalry with the protagonist, yourself, viewing them as someone he can show the ropes to. Tap, who's going to be the one Saiyan character, a genius who skipped a grade to enter university, possessing both brains and brawn. Rom, who's going to be the demon character, a university student who also works as an idol. She loves putting smiles on people's faces. And Lil Luca is going to be, I'm assuming, the female Earthling, one of the protagonist's classmates in the university they end up attending. Just brief descriptions of the characters, kind of cool. Moving forward, in XENOVERSE 3, players will explore and uncover exciting new stories. West City. Yeah, this description, even though it just came out when the trailer came out, it's very similar to the old description. What's going on here? Alongside these characters, players will meet a cast of original characters making their debut. Yeah, we just went over. Combat in Xenoverse 3 expands the series' high-speed action with new ways to fight and harness the power of legendary warriors. Yeah, that's going to be the soul-changing technique. That's optional, by the way. Players can soar through West City, boosting across the battlefield and unleashing powerful key attacks against enemies. Players' choices will have a greater impact on fights in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, depending on the race players choose. Different options will be available to turn the tide in their favor. While Saiyan can use the power of the Super Saiyan in its multiple forms, providing them with ever-evolving strength, Earthlings offer a completely different playstyle, which is the Soul Assist system, which allows them to unleash a powerful attack alongside a powerful ally from Dragon Ball Universe. In addition, the Soul Switch mechanic allows player to temporarily harness the power of the cast characters such as Krillin, Piccolo, Vegeta, Future Trunks, and Tien to become even stronger. So that's essentially it for today's video. I'm hyped for Xenoverse 3. Just wanted to talk mainly about the story content that's been floating around thanks to the news article. Again, we've received a ton of info ever since the trailer and gameplay reveal. So we'll just keep you guys up to date whenever more details and news drop. Stay tuned to the channel. Thank you guys for the immense support, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.